There's a lot going on in Essex and Manchester this week for a sleepy mid-January week. We've got a lot of stuff. First in school, the Manchester-Essex Regional School, High School in particular. This week, we've got two things. Last week, we talked about sports coming back. Winter sports got approved, competitive winter sports, and they started last week, but they kind of got off to a weird start because there's a lot of things hampering the teams in terms of COVID and staying safe. There's no spectators, there's adjustments to all the games, everything. But this week they really got off, especially we got some amazing pictures there were 3, Friday, Monday, and Wednesday. Varsity Hornets boys and girls basketball. Got some incredible shots by Paul Clark, who's far outruns me on the Manchester cricket. He precedes me by a lot. And he got some great shots, and they're off to a really wonderful, it's just great to see the play. It really is. AJ Palazzola is, kind of quite a star. Will Larson, Jack Shaw. There's others emerging too. And, I don't know their names yet, but I will. But they're doing great. So that's that. Another thing is back to school is happening now in terms of migrating at the high school level from remote only to a hybrid program. That actually happened starting on Thursday. The middle school started it on Wednesday. And it's really interesting. Kids were given a choice whether they wanted to continue remote or if they wanted to go back in hybrid. And then they divided the population, the student body, into 2 teams. They divided them into the green team, the white team, and then they're alternating days. Every report, it's not scientific at this point, it's not hard data, but it looks like it's about only between 30 and 40% of the kids decided they wanted to go back to school in real life. So drop off was really kind of sparse, which is a good thing, to be honest with you. I mean, don't you think?
Oh yeah, right.
Doesn't it feel better that they're kind of taking it slow?
Right.
Rather than being oversubscribed and running into big problems with safety and trouble and spikes in COVID, then having to pull it back. Yeah. But it's a whole new world for the kids once they got in there. I've already heard that there's a system for getting around that's a QR code based system. So you have to scan your phone. It used to be that don't bring your phone to school. Now you need your phone. Right. Even if you're going to the bathroom, QR code.
Interesting, right. Are they taking temperatures? Are they taking temperatures, Erika? Things like that?
I've heard that they are when you enter. When you enter, you're greeted. There's a whole system. I don't have complete information about it, but you're greeted at a table. You're stopped, you're greeted. And I don't know if temperatures are taken. I've heard that they have been, but I don't know that. I don't have it confirmed.
And do we know are most of the faculty in the schools at this point? Wow.
Yes. The faculty's been in the school for a while. That's how they did remote. Okay. Remember, especially sort of in the new school in Manchester, which is the Memorial Elementary School. That's a brand new school. So half of the school's under construction. So half of it is completed, and then they raised the other half that was used last year, and they're building that half this year. So at the end of this year, they'll have a full school, but school has returned in the new building. But who's seen the building? The teachers. And that's it. Some students have been able to go back, but once once they come back, they're now going to go back. But the teachers have been there the whole time, and they haven't been doing remote teaching from their houses for the most part. They've been doing them from school. They've actually gone to work and are in the classroom. It's the kids who are remote.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, Erika, there's a lot going on with the planning board.
Yeah, we talked about that last week with the whole issue of the planning board, and they're addressing right now what's called the limited commercial district, which is the upper end of School Street that abuts Route 128. It's a large tract of land. It's a limited commercial district is what it says, limited. So it's neither fish nor fowl in there. And the master plan, which was developed over 3 years with 3 years, surveys of, survey of 500 people, 100 meetings. So very thoroughly vetted. They concluded that they wanted to develop that area of town in order to generate more a bigger tax revenue base. that's really needed because we've got obligations for infrastructure and for the schools. I mean, it's essentially looking for an additional, what they say is between $1 million and $2 million incrementally a year in tax revenue. Well, one of the big ways they're recommending doing it, and they're exploring right now, is something called 40R, which would rezone that area according to a Massachusetts state program, basically. It's a zoning program, which would mix residential with retail and commercial. I mean, retail is commercial, but it is that kind of thing. So think a hotel, they're talking about assisted living, they're even talking about maybe luring a company to have a headquarters there. So it's a wide spectrum of options, but then it would have to be 51% residential. There are guidelines for it. Right now, here's the point. There is $140,000, I believe, of tax revenue coming from the entire limited district. They want to get that up to close to $2 million. This is one way in which they have to do it, but they have to get it approved at town hall. They had 2 meetings at the planning board this week. The first was a planning board meeting. The second one was a public forum information session, one of many, about 40R. And let's just say it's spirited. It's prompting this spirited discussion. So that'll go on. And the truth is 40R is one way in which they could do it. If they don't do it that way, they'll do it another way. Probably they'll have to, because that's in the plan. But the benefit of 40R also, because the state wants you to do it, is they'll give you, the town stands to gain up to about $1 million in goodies from the state, which, is not insignificant. And people who are sort of hawks for the budget and tax rates would care about that.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, we have a really cool story about the Essex River Basin Adventures group, ERBA.
Exactly. Have you ever gone on an ERBA trip?
It's awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, it's one of my favorite things I've done in Cape Ann is actually to do that. Yeah.
Well, let's talk it up now that they're closing.
No,
They're retired.
sad.
I've actually done it. It was kind of a go-to for me, for my dear friends who would get married. It would be our version of a bachelorette, like way to kick off a bachelorette, and it would end late at night, doing something else. But during the day, it's such an amazing thing. And the story of Ozzy and Sandy Osborne, who started Essex River Basin back in 1994, I believe it was. I mean, they've been around for decades. And honestly, they're so successful. Their secret to success, and this was a story, by the way, I should mention, was written by Chris McGinn, who did a great job with it. She interviewed them. They're going to be retiring effective immediately. It's not related to COVID. It's just, they felt like it was time. They've been doing it for a long time. They've had this incredible lifestyle where the couple and the family, they spend their winters at Shasta, which is skiing in Northern California. Yeah. And then they come back here for the summer. They're going to continue doing it. Their lives aren't going to change. They're still coming back to Essex. But in any given summer at their peak, they would put between 3,000 and 4,500 boaters on the water. Isn't that spectacular?
That's great.
And they would have these incredible trips. You could go to the backside of Cranes Beach and go clamming. And really the secret to their success was really 2 things, I would say, from reading this piece. Number one, the guides. They had amazing guides that would tell you these great stories, and you could go to these most beautiful places. So that's number one. And number 2, they made it easy. Like I've done these kinds of kayaking trips, and I remember you had to go through all this training, like a lot before you could even get on the water. And it was like, oh, I just want to get on the water. Well, with ERBA, you could get trained and get on the water same day. Yeah. They made it easy.
And so some of that river navigating can get difficult depending on the tides. Yeah, they did a great job.
Well, especially in Essex.
Yeah. Right. So is there anyone poised to fill their shoes?
That's a good question, actually, because not really. The plan was, you can, I'll say it this way. The Trustees of Reservation at Cranes Beach has a program where you can do this kind of thing. And that sort of seems to be a natural place that could pick up that slack. But nothing official, and those guides are still out there. I would say try to find those guides, because I'll bet you could still have a great time. It's the end of an institution. It kind of, Erba felt like it was really an institution
Absolutely.
at Essex. So
I
thank
should
you,
have said-
Ozzy. Thank you, Sandy.
I should have said poised to fill their kayaks. That's what I
Like that.
Cheers to the Osbornes, and cheers
Yeah.
to Erika for another great week of
Cheers.
news. Get the cricket, folks.
I
While
don't
you
have class.
Yeah.
Cheers.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.